The old Boston Garden draped with banners from glories past in the 7th straight series between the Montreal Canadiens and Boston Bruins. Andy Moog was impressive early for the Bruins, turning aside shot after shot. 9 of 9 in the first period and a steady workload in the second. Patrick Waugh was performing with splendor at the opposite end. He got the first 15 Boston shots. But late in the second period, a Bruins power play clicked. Ray Bourque shot. Dave Poulin converted the only goal in a thrilling 1-0 Boston win. 2 nights ago, there was burning anger near the ice at Boston Garden. A sea of penalties at the worst times made the game one of intensity, fire. On the ice, hit for hit, hurt for hurt. Epitomized by the bounce-back quality of rugged Canadiens defenseman Craig Ludwig. Boston trailed by a goal 3 times. Midway in the second period, John Carter tied it for the 3rd time, 3-3 after 2. Dave Poulin had been injured earlier. 51-goal scorer Stéphane Richer had to be helped off in the second. But in the third, he was back to artfully put the Canadiens ahead 4-3 with 7:10 to go. But another Canadiens penalty, another killer power play. 1:49 was left when Cam Neely tied the game at 4. Overtime, and a flashback to an Orr Sanderson play 20 years before. This time, another defenseman, Gary Galley, tapped to Craig Janney. Back it came to Galley, and the game ended 5-4. The series continues, 2-0 Boston. Game 3 set for the Forum in Montreal. The Bruins, the Canadiens, next on Sports Channel America. From the shrine within a shrine, the 62-year-old home of the Montreal Canadiens, the Forum. Sports Channel America presents the Adams Division Final. Game 3, the Boston Bruins and the Montreal Canadiens. Good evening, everyone. Along with Peter McNabb, I'm Mike Emmerich. We want to join in wishing the best to the Clement family. Chase Garrett Clement was born this morning to Bill and Sissy Clement. 8 pounds, 12.5 ounces. He's doing well. Sissy's well. Clement is recovering nicely, we anticipate. For that reason, Bill's not here tonight. Excitement at the Clement house today, and certainly excitement is going to be prevalent here.
Excitement all over Montreal. A very tense city. This city loves its hockey. Their team is down 2-0 in the playoffs against the Bruins. This is not usual for Montreal, and you can just feel the players, the coaching staff, and the city is very tense before this game starts.
Only one lineup change tonight. It will have Matthew Schneider back in the lineup for the Montreal Canadiens, and it'll be J.J. Daigneault who will be scratched as a result. But there are some very critical questions that were hovering over both teams in terms of injured players today.
And for the Boston Bruins, injured in the first period of the second game, Dave Poulin in a pileup, injured his neck, some of the nerves running down into his back. He's back into tonight's game. Mike Milbury has the defensive line of Burridge, Poulin, and Christian ready if they can get out there against Skrudland.
Boy, that'll certainly help them to have that line intact again rather than have it broken up as they did the other night. Stéphane Richer came out late for the warm-up. We thought maybe he wasn't going to play tonight, but he did come out later on after being taped. Tested it. Peter observed from here that he wasn't really doing that well on it, but he's going to give it a try on that injured leg. So Richer will be in the lineup, and they got to have it. Out of the 21 goals Montreal has scored, he's gotten 7 of them. So much for the snipers and the key heart guys on the team. What about the playmakers, the guys that set up all those goals?
And for the Boston Bruins, Craig Janney. Janney had 4 assists in Game 2 alone. He has 11 assists in 6 games in the playoffs, and we'll see the one that won it in overtime right here. Just a beautiful pass through 3 Montreal defenders to Galley, who fires the overtime winner. A great passer. You know Montreal will be watching Janney tonight.
He only had 2 shots on goal, but 4 assists. And for Montreal, Brian Skrudland didn't have a shot on goal, but 3 assists.
And Brian Skrudland has really changed the style of his game. He's gone from that tough defensive player to an all-round and maybe even an explosive offensive player for Montreal. You see him make the pass right here to Richer. Richer, Corson, and Skrudland have to score if Montreal is going to win. We have something that we're doing with each game of this series called the keys or the edge to the series. And tonight we give the Boston Bruins 6 check marks and the Montreal Canadiens only 1. Even though there have been 2 one-goal games, and they've been pretty close, here's how we size it up. Offense, clearly Boston. Defense,
Both teams, Montreal has dominated in face-offs, and they've been tight games, so we give them a check mark too. Power play, clearly Boston. Penalty killing Boston, they killed off every Montreal advantage. Goaltending, Andy Moog has been better than Patrick Roy. And in the intangible, despite history, we give the edge to Boston because of 2 straight wins.
But the Boston Bruins traditionally have not had a great record here in the Forum in playoffs. 4-20 since 1971. That is one of the things the Montreal Canadiens are rallying around.
And can the Boston Bruins reverse that past, or do they even care about it? We'll find out. The teams will soon come onto the ice. They're just starting now. We'll be back for the anthems and the face-off in just...
Back to our studios in New York, I'm Bob Papa, along with future NHL Hall of Famer Dennis Potvin. Dennis, the Canadiens and Bruins, game number 3. Montreal has just had a lot of trouble scoring.
Well, they haven't had much offense even in the first round, Bob. They played against the Buffalo Sabres, and they got most of the scoring from the same people, namely Richer. But where are Bobby Smith, Claude Lemieux? Mats Naslund was hurt, but he's back now. And Ryan Walter, who in 8 games in the playoffs doesn't have a single point. Those are the question marks of the Montreal Canadiens. Those are the players that have to start coming back now and contributing a little bit. Richer alone certainly can't do it, and Roy alone, as we've seen, can't do it by himself.
Well, they had the worst power play during the regular season in the National Hockey League, and they're struggling in the playoffs as well. You take a look at it, 2 of 38 in the playoffs. They have no goals in 9 attempts against Boston. We mentioned the worst during the season at 15.9%. What do they have to do to correct that?
Montreal does not have that big guy that can stand in front of the net. If you think back at the time when they were very successful, they had Chris Nyland, who'd stand right in front of my face in front of the net on the power play, and you oftentimes wondered why he was there. Enough interference to let the puck handlers play the puck. Chelios obviously just back, a great puck handler and defensive kind of guy you need to be the general on the play, but it hasn't come together for them.
And Boston has been playing a great series as well. We're going to take you now to the Forum in Montreal. Guy Pichet singing the Canadian National Anthem.
Predictably emotional start to Game 3. Guy Pichet with O Canada. The referee for tonight's game, the decisive Gary Fraser, with Swede Knox and Randy Mitten, the linesman.
And Mike, back in goal for the Boston Bruins. Mike Milbury has decided to get away from the rotation system he's used all season and go with the hot hand. And Andy Moog is the hottest goaltender in the National Hockey League, 1.96 goals against. And again, back in goal for the Montreal Canadiens. He's their playoff goaltender. The Montreal Canadiens will win or lose with Patrick Roy in nets.
Montreal makes a change completely in their lineup. Schneider and Desjardins will start on defense. Courtnall, Bobby Smith, and Claude Lemieux. Boston goes with the same 5 that started Game 2. Burridge, Poulin, and Christian up front. Wesley and Bork in back. We are underway in Game 3. Desjardins hands to Matthew Schneider, then back to Desjardins again. Checked by Burridge. Desjardins able to peel away, and from his knees plopped one near Bork. Able to dodge away from Courtnall forechecking. Tried for Burridge, but instead got Desjardins again. Standing room only here at the Forum in Montreal. It seats 16,197. They can stand nearly 2,000 more, and tonight they're doing it. Dave Christian trying to pull away from the pile, but the puck frozen, and so a neutralized faceoff. Well, you have to wonder what the two teams were thinking prior to the start of the game, what the pressures were. We asked Ray Bourque whether he was nervous on the road playing at the Forum with the Bruins.
Not at all. You know, we've played well on the road all year, and we had the best road record in the league. So, if anything, I think we're able to play better on the road, and we've shown that all year long.
Well, I think we're feeling very positive. We know that, like I said, 5-on-5, I think we're a very effective hockey club. But, you know, if we're going to continue to take penalties, I mean, we're slowing the game down. We're obviously giving Ray Bourque, Cam Neely some time to rest, and that's something that we really don't want to do.
Well, right now, Mike, out on the ice, we got Janney versus Carbonneau. This is the first line matchup I think we're going to see Montreal use, and they might try and use this for the whole game.
Well, Bourque is back to take this, and right after him is Carbonneau. Puck sent out in front off of Janney, and it skipped just away from Keane. Floated along by Prop, and it escapes, but only as far as Craig Ludwig. 45 seconds gone, first period of play. No score in the contest here from the Forum in Montreal. Tripped up was Chelios. Puck tapped loose back toward Chelios, but read by Carbonneau. And this is the time that the teams try to feel out that third party on the ice, the officials. It was a very tightly and closely called game in Game 2, and a lot of penalties by Ron Hogarth. Not nearly so many by Andy Van Helleman in Game 1. Along the boards, Janney picks it up, wedged right off, and two go down, and Neely at the side of the net tried to bank one in front. It's off Chelios, but held by Waugh.
Little mix-up by the Montreal Canadiens right there. Neely trying to move the puck across the Prop. I think everybody in the building was expecting Cam Neely to try and take the shot there. Mike, I think that's one of the areas that Neely has improved so much. He was a goal scorer the last couple of years, but this year, his ability to, you see right there, Montreal players run into each other, but his ability to make the play. Everyone is covering him now with the shot, but he has gotten himself more room by being able to pass that puck well, especially in close.
Well, you were a teammate of his when you were with Vancouver, right? Now, how has he changed from those days to these?
Well, I don't think anybody could have said that Cam Neely was for sure going to be a 50-goal scorer. But the biggest thing is he has just grown into his talent. One night he could skate well, one night he could stick handle well.
Galley is shot. Oh, and a save made by Waugh. Dufresne hands it back over to Svoboda, and Patrick Waugh has faced his first good test of the first period of play. Just a minute and a half in. Icing may be called against Montreal, and it is. Galley took a swat and then a little shove from Corson, and Strudlin comes in to have a word with Don Sweeney. They part, and there'll be a face-off coming back near Waugh.
I was talking to Mike Miller right before the game, and he said one of the things he was going to try and do is slow the pace of the game down, especially the first 10 minutes, because he knew Montreal was going to have a lot of emotion. The crowd was going to be in the game, and the one thing he did not want to see happen was Montreal get that early goal, get the momentum.
Thus the icing just now.
They'll take their time on face-offs, look around, check, just to give themselves that little extra time and slow the pace of the game down, especially between whistles.
And it becomes more frustrating for Montreal because they're antsy wanting to get on with it,
exactly.
Right?
They just want to get out, get going, get skating, use their speed.
Svoboda flips one that is gloved down by Ryan Walter, 32 years of age today. Pass went over for Gilchrist, brushed away from him, followed up by Gilchrist. Tries to finesse by Dave Poulin and can. Poulin banks it back off now for Christian. Moving back out, Galley is shouldered as the pass ahead for Burridge, kicked across to Ewan. Poulin takes away for the Bruins, hands on to Burridge. Just got away from a hit by Dufresne. Waugh sets it up for Svoboda. Right on him is Christian, but the puck was nudged by to Ewan. Ewan feathers a pass that's controlled by Gilchrist. He's hit by Peterson, but Walter starts ahead. Ewan breaking, Walter is shot, and it's grabbed by Moog, and he hangs on. 2 minutes and 16 seconds gone in the first period of this game. Only one shot on goal registered on the shot board right now, and that from a Boston stick. It looks as though this one was headed wide.
Well, Andy Moog, who's played so well for the Boston Bruins, it really started that game in Hartford. The Bruins were down 5-2 between the second and third period. Mike Milbury went from Lemlin to Moog. The Bruins end up winning that dramatically, 6-5. Dave Poulin scoring late in the game, and ever since that time, Mike Milbury stuck with Andy Moog.